Hey, how's it going, everyone? This is my second video. This video is about mental health and Christ, and I'm going to be sharing some experiences that I've had up until now. I'm only 24 years old, but I think I can share a bit of wisdom that will relate to a lot of people who may be struggling with something or have struggled with something in the past. So I hope if anyone even watches this video, they find some sort of redeemable value or piece of wisdom that they can share with others. So relating to mental health, for a while, I'm just so very grateful that I'm living in a generation where mental health and therapy is publicized through ads, through television, through social media, through television. Not sure if I said television twice. But this wasn't always the case back in like the 1970s and 1980s. My mom mentioned that if you even mentioned the word therapy, if you told someone that you needed help, you would be called crazy or loony. And it just was not a good time for people who actually needed help. There was a big stigma against it, which is not the case today. So I'm very glad to be living in the 21st century where these things are not as much of a problem. So if people had trauma, chemical imbalances, anxiety, mental health problems, they could not get the help that they really, truly needed. In my Coming to Christ testimony video, I shared some less than positive experiences about relating to my mental health. They really did help shape my view on the pain and suffering of others. I've learned more about myself as a whole, and I've developed more empathy for people who have suffered with those illnesses. I remember thinking back in the day, whenever someone on the TV show would mention like, "Oh, I'm depressed, I don't feel like doing anything," I would just be like, just get up and do it. Like, why? I mean, just because you're depressed doesn't mean you can't do something. Just get your ass up and go wash the dishes. Get your ass up and do the hard work. But I know it's not. That's a very simple way, a very closed-minded and simple way of viewing a disorder like that. To give a Reader's Digest of what I experienced, I battled severe anxiety all the way through high school, and I finally experienced depression in my early 20s. I said finally as if I was waiting to experience depression. I was not waiting. I was not waiting to experience depression. It's something that came out of left field. I never thought that I would experience it. All this brought forth pain, confusion, loneliness, and suffering on a scale that I never thought was possible. Truly, like I mentioned in my video, I never thought that I would still be alive here today to tell you my story. If you guys want more detail on what I went through on my journey, go ahead and check out that first video, my Coming to Christ testimony. So I'm happy to say that now I am in a much better state. My faith in Jesus Christ has always been my primary reason for the hope, happiness, the peace, and the purpose that I have today. He is my chief cornerstone, my chief physician, my chief helper, and my chief provider. I owe my life to him. He's the reason why I'm still alive. God bless. But I would be lying if I said that therapy and medication have not been pivotal in my life and my mental health journey. And that's sort of the reason for this video as well. I've heard different opinions about mental health services and medication, especially medication. That's a big one in the Christian community where so whenever you hear someone say that they want to take medication and they're a Christian, the knee-jerk reaction from the Christian community would be to pray more. Isn't Jesus enough for you? Why do you need medication? You just have strongholds in your heart. Just pray more. Jesus will take care of you. These are all good pieces of advice. I'm not going to say that they're not. We should strive to deepen our reliance on God through prayer, and praying for the breaking of demonic chains should be used as a weapon against the enemy. I wholeheartedly agree with that. The primary weapons or tools that the Apostle Paul referenced for the Christian life are spiritual tools. In Ephesians 6, verses 13 through 17, he describes the armor of God, which includes the shield of faith, the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit to stand against adversity. I can go more in depth with that on a future video, but for the sake of the argument, I'm just going to stick with the role that, the stigma against medication and mental health services for the Christian community. What I just mentioned before, what Paul said, these are staples of the Christian faith. We should use whatever is in our disposal to help guard our hearts and our minds from mental attacks, spiritual attacks, anything of the sort. What I am trying to convey through this video is that we should not aim to dismiss modern medicine on the basis that it substitutes our reliance on God. Let me say that again. We should not dismiss modern medicine by thinking that it replaces God. It does not. It does not. I'm sure that most people who take medication that are in the Christian community do not see that as their God. They are not worshiping the medication. They are simply using it as an instrument to get themselves better. Again, intention is everything, and I'm going to make a separate video on intentions. It all boils down to how the medication is used. People have been taking medication for bodily ailments, sicknesses, diseases. So why wouldn't medication to treat a brain imbalance be accepted? Why would this not be accepted? I've been taking a low dose of antidepressant and mood stabilizing medication for about 2 years, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer in my mood, my stability. I find myself falling into sin much less often. I feel much more joyous. I feel like I can talk about Christ more openly and with more excitement, and it doesn't feel like a vice. I don't feel shameful in doing it. I almost feel acceptance from the Lord that this is something that has helped get me through the day, and it's an important tool and resource in my journey and in the journeys of others, that medication can really help restore the life of many people. There have been points in my journey where I wanted to step out in faith and say, Lord, I'm going to not take this medication because you are enough. You are enough. And I did believe that, and I still believe that. I'm like, Lord, I'm going to trust you with this. I'm going to stop taking my medication. And yeah, needless to say, that was probably a bad decision. A very bad decision. Oh man, like feeling drained throughout the day. This like almost brought me back. This recently, like I stopped taking one of my medications, my mood stabilizer, and for like most of the week last week, I felt very drained. I was just very drained, low energy, low like self-esteem. Everything felt painful. I could not relate to others. I did not want to go to church. Actually, I did miss church. Partly for that reason, where I needed to pick up medication and I had responsibilities, but still, I allowed that to get in the way of me serving at church. So after some prayer and some thought and some research, I think the Lord was telling me maybe my level of faith at this point is not where it needs to be, and where I am in my journey, in my level of maturity, I am not at the point to where I can just give this medication away. Right now, I'm okay with just using the same dosage that I have been to get through the day, and that's okay. These issues have shown me that some things cannot be solved overnight. Patience is one of the fruits of the Spirit, and it's taken me a while to recognize when I just need to step back and just allow the Lord to guide my steps, and for Him to say, okay, this is not your time to get rid of this medication. So a Bible verse came to mind when making this video. Every good and perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of the heavenly lights, who does not change like shifting shadows. That is from James chapter 1, verses 17 in the New International Version. If God comes first in your life, then the appropriate use of mental health services and medication should be accepted in the Christian community. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I do not like the stigma that I've heard about medication, that it's automatically put off. Yes, we do need Christ. Yes, we need to read the Word and pray and do all of that. As long as we put that on top, we put Christ on top, and then resources below like studying, medication, all these sort of good habits that keep us in line, continuing on the path of righteousness that God has intended for us before we were born, then they should be accepted. As long as a habit does not lead you to further sin, which me taking this medication does not lead me to further sin, actually takes me away from indulge in sin, because I feel a lot better and I don't feel the need to indulge in sin when I feel better. When I feel more stabilized, more calm, more grounded, more rooted in Christ. I will say, like, I feel much better now than when I did before I took the medication. So, what are your thoughts? Please leave a comment below, and have a blessed day.